Welcome. My name is Catherine and I love music. In this video, I'm going to share with you my Howard Jones albums. I became a fan after hearing his first single, New Song, in 1983. And last year I saw Howard Jones in concert on June 17th, 2022, and he currently tours with Robin Bolt on lead guitar and Nick Beggs on bass guitar. And he's famous for being in Kajagoogoo, and he wrote the song Too Shy. And they're very talented guitarists. They're amazing to see live. I also bought this t-shirt, and it shows Howard's different hairstyles and fashion through the years, starting with 80s Howard over here to the current Howard here. So here are some brief facts about Howard Jones before I show the albums. I read his bibliography on his website. He was born John Howard Jones on February 23rd, 1955 in Southampton, England, and he started playing piano at the age of 7. Howard Jones attended the Royal Northern College of Music in the mid-70s, and he majored in classical piano. He had 10 top 40 singles in the UK between 1983 and 1986. 6 of these songs reached the top 10, which is pretty amazing. And No One Is to Blame is his highest charting song in the United States. It reached number 4, followed by Things Can Only Get Better, which went to number 5. Howard Jones is associated with the 1980s second British invasion in the US, and he is one of the pioneers of 80s synth pop. And in 1985, he performed at the historic Live Aid concert in England, and he performed the song Hide and Seek on the grand piano. So this is the first album that I bought. It's called Dream Into Action. It's his second studio album, released on March 11th, 1985. So the singles on this album are Things Can Only Get Better, Life in One Day, and a song that I really like is Like to Get to Know You Well, and the song Look Mama. So here's the back of the album. I also have the 45 single of Things Can Only Get Better, which is another great song by Howard, a very upbeat, happy song. And this reached number 5. And on my 45s, I like to put these little sticky notes on there. And I put all the facts on the sticky notes. It helps me to remember. So on Dream Into Action, the third track, we're introduced to the song No One Is to Blame. It's the original acoustic version that Howard plays the grand piano, so it's just vocal and piano. And that's where I first came familiar with the song from having this album before it was released on the next album. So this is Howard's next album called One on One, and it was released October 3rd, 1986. The first single off this album was You Know I Love You, Don't You, that went to number 17. And then the bonus track is No One Is to Blame, the radio single version, and it reached number 4 in the United States. It's his highest single. And it also reached number 1 on the US adult contemporary charts. So Howard Jones has a really good website, and I downloaded his sheet music. He has it available for free download. And this is the sheet music to No One Is to Blame. It's 4 pages, and I plan to practice and learn this song. And it's free, but he does ask people to donate to a natural disaster relief project. So I donated some money to the Red Cross to help the people with the Maui fires. Our next album is his 4th studio album. It's called Cross That Line, And I do really like this album. It's he's kind of moving away from the synth pop to more pop and adult contemporary, and it's a nice mix of songs with some upbeat dance club tracks too. So it was released March 20th, 1989, and I was a senior in high school when this came out. The first single was called Prisoner, and it reached number 30. And then a really upbeat song that I like is called Everlasting Love. This one went to number 12. And I want to point out a song on here that wasn't released as a single. It's number 6, and it's Out of Thin Air. And this is a classical piano piece, instrumental. And it just shows his skills as a classical composer of what he learned in college. And it's completely different than all his other songs. So the last single to chart in the United States was in 1992. It's called Lift Me Up, and it reached number 10 on the Billboard Hot 100. It came from an album called In the Running, and I don't have this CD, but what I do have is I bought his compilation album, The Best of Howard Jones, in 1983. So what this comp does for me is it gives me the 4 songs off his first record in '83, The Human Lib. So I have What is Love, New Song, Pearl in a Shell, and Always Asking Questions. And track number 10 is No One Is to Blame. So I have the opportunity to listen to this song 3 times on 3 different albums. And from his 1992 album called In the Running, I get the song Lift Me Up, Tears to Tell, Two Souls, City Song, and there's a bonus track on here. It's called IGY, What a Beautiful World. This song is written by Donald Fagen from his Night Flying album, and I absolutely love that song. I'm a big fan of Steely Dan, and maybe someday I'll show you my Steely Dan albums. So those are my Howard Jones albums, and I follow him on Spotify and subscribe to his YouTube channel. And I've listened to some of his later albums that he's put out since 1992. And one that I want to point out is called Songs for Family and Friends. And this is a collection of classical piano pieces, original music by Howard Jones. And it's hard to believe it's the same artist. It's just a completely different genre. I grew up listening to his synth pop and his pop songs, and to hear him play classical, I mean, it's just really amazing. And as a piano player, I'm inspired by his skills. I mean, he has good knowledge of music and songwriting, and he knows a lot about music theory. Also on Howard Jones' website, there's a fan email, and after the concert, I sent him an email. And I'll read what I wrote to him. So I sent this email on June 21st, 2022 at 7:30 p.m. I wrote, Dear Howard, thank you for the concert at the Tulalip Orca Ballroom in Washington. I really enjoyed the performance and hearing the songs in mid-jur. I appreciate the talent of the musicians Robert Bolt and Nick Beggs. I purchased the t-shirt with the 5 Howard Jones cartoon graphic. I thought it was a great design. And I like the new songs from your newer albums, and I did my homework and watched videos on YouTube to hear your latest release. Best wishes for the remainder of the tour. Sincerely, Catherine. And 2 days later, he responded back to me from his iPhone. It just says, Thank you for this, Catherine. Best wishes, Howard Jones. So it says on his webpage that he does answer emails, just to be patient and he'll get back to you. So that's my collection, and I do plan to film another video. I'm going on vacation, and it is a music related vacation. And I hope to see you next week. Take care and goodbye.